reading Walt Disney's Princess Story Collection. Yay! Let's see which princess. Do you see which one it is? Who's that? Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, Belle, and Princess Jasmine. Hooray! This is the story. Walt Disney's Cinderella. Cinderella's countdown to the ball. Do you see her stepsisters and her evil stepmother and their Cinderella? Did a great job. Let's see. Oh, do you remember this story? Poor Cinderella. Do you remember what happens? Her mice friends and the bird friends help her make a beautiful dress. And what happens is the stepsisters, and they're all from the stuff that the stepsisters threw away and didn't want. But when they found out it was that she had taken the used stuff that they had thrown aside and used it, they started tearing her dress apart. Do you remember that? And they went, "That's my sash. That's my pearls. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine." And they tore her dress, and this is what ended up happening. And then the evil stepmother says, "Get into the cars, my girls, into the cart, and let's go." And so they do, and they leave Cinderella all with a torn dress, and her mice friends are sad and everything. So she goes to the steps outside in the garden, and then she goes and she says, "I could have actually been at the ball. I could have been there." And then she starts crying. I could have. And then, poof, the fairy godmother appears. Do you remember that? And she's in her arms, in her lap, and says, "My sweet little child, what's the matter?" Well, Cinderella goes, "I wanted to so badly go to the ball. My mice friend and my birds and everybody helped to make this beautiful dress, and then my stepsisters tore it apart. I used the stuff that they threw away." And she goes, there, my dear. Don't worry, everything's gonna work out. And let's turn the page to see what happens with the fairy godmothers in charge. Bippity, boppity, boo! I can turn that pumpkin into a carriage too. And she does. She turns in there one magic coach. Boo! And then all of a sudden it appears. Hooray, hooray. There's the horse, his horse friend, and the dog. And then she goes, bippity, boppity, boo! And then we go to the next page. Two coachmen. You see that? Two coachmen. One's a driver and one's the footman person. Excellent, excellent job. And now she's going, "But wait a second. What about my dress? I have a carriage. I have two coachmen. I have everything. What about my horses?" Don't worry. Don't worry. Perfect. Three wishes come true. Bippity, boppity, boo! Bing! And all of a sudden, her dress that was all, destroyed, she gets this beautiful, beautiful dress. Remember, she also gets two glass slippers. And so she's like, "This is a dream comes true. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming?" And then four horses. She goes, "But you need horses to drive the carriage." So she looks at the mice friends and says, "Come on over here, my friends." And they're like, "No, no." They start running away, and she goes, "Bippity, boppity, boo!" And then the magic comes out, and it turns them into four horses. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then she attaches them to the pumpkin that is now a carriage, the two coachmen, the horses, and she goes, "My dear, remember, when the clock strikes 12, you must leave because the spell will be broken and you will be the same that you are as you started here." And Cinderella goes, "Yes, I promise I won't forget. I won't forget." And now they're 5 miles away. They're 5 miles to go to the ball. So they have to drive 5 miles and then they'll get to the ball. Excellent, excellent job. Then she pulls up. Do you remember what happens? She pulls up and her coachman goes over, one of them, and he opens the gate and she gets out and she's on this red carpet here. And she sees 6 foot doormen. Do you want to count them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. When she enters, all the gentlemen want to dance with her. There are 7 gentlemen who want to dance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And she's like, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. But I would rather decline. And so let's see what happens. She came to dance with the prince. There's 8 ladies waiting in line. Do you see them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's the 8th one. And there's the prince. That's the prince. And he goes, Father, no more, please, no more ladies tonight. I feel all worn out. Can we end this ball? Then all of a sudden he looks over. And who does he see? He sees Cinderella. And he goes, who's that girl? Who's that lady? Bring her over and we will dance, dance, dance. And they bring Cinderella over, and he puts his hand out and says, "My lady, would you want to dance with me?" And she goes, "Oh, I would love to. I would love to." And then what he does is he takes her hand and he walks down the steps to the ballroom. And then they start the play, all the music starts do 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 do, all of it, and then all of a sudden they're in a trance, and they're dancing, and they're swirling, and it's like a fairy tale. They're on clouds, and they're just dancing and dancing and dancing. They dance, and 9 ladies whisper. Do you see all the 9 ladies here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. And then they're such, the prince and Cinderella are such in love that they don't even hear the whispering, because it's first love at first sight. This is such a great story. I love it. Then after the dance is finished, and the song is finished and they stop the dance, he reaches out and he puts his hand out and she puts her hand out, and they hold hands. And 10 fingers do they hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 fingers. And then he says, would you come with me out on the balcony, and I will show you the stars, the 11 stars up above. So let's count the stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And there's 2 big stars. And he asks her and says, who are you? I've never seen you in this kingdom before. And she declines to answer, because she wants for him to love her as her, not as the beauty of her being Cinderella. And so he's puzzled that she doesn't answer the question. Let's see what happens. They start dancing a little bit more. Then she sees the clock right here. And what does it happen? Starts bonging. Bong, 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 bong at bong. She goes, oh no, the clock's chiming 12 times. I have to leave, I have to leave. But the prince goes, who are you? Who are you? And she just runs down the steps. Trot, 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 trot. And as she's getting down almost to the very last step, she slips for just a second. She's running. And then her glass slipper falls off and lands right on the step. One glass slipper lies right there. Excellent, excellent job for spying all that. And then what happens is the prince comes down. Remember, and he grabs the glass slipper, and the ball's over, and the father and his mother come down, the king and queen, and go, son, did you pick any? Son, did you pick any lady to be your bride? He goes, yes, mother. Yes, father, I did. And the father goes, so where is she? And he holds out this glass slipper and says, this whoever fits this slipper, I will marry. She will be my bride, because I love her so much. And so the king orders, and the prince orders all the fair ladies in the land to try on this slipper. And the one who the foot fits will end up being the prince's bride. And so they go throughout all the kingdom until they came to the stepmother and the stepdaughter's door and Cinderella. And you hear the knock, 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 or tap, 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 tap. And then they put the slipper on the first one. Too big. The feet's too big. And then they do the second stepsister, and her feet is too small. And then what happens is the evil stepmother trips, and crash goes the slipper. But then Cinderella comes around and says, I have it. But remember, we got to remember how the story went. First, the mice, when they were waiting to get the sisters their feet checked, the mice went into her pocket, grabbed the key that she locked Cinderella in way up in the tower. They make it, remember, they go up the steps and they finally get there and they go to the door and they go click and they let her out and she comes and as he's crying, he's going, oh, my slip, I broke the slipper. The prince is going to be so angry with me. She goes, don't worry, you didn't do anything. Here, I have the slipper. And he looks up there and says, what? And then let's see what happens. The other slipper. Do you see that right here? The other slipper. And he goes, my lady, will you mind sitting down in the chair and trying it? And he takes it and he puts it on her foot and it fits perfectly. And then he goes, hooray, hooray. And he takes Cinderella back to the castle. And they get all the preparations for the wedding. And then what happens is then they get married and they lived happily ever after. But we gotta find out. There's always the end. And then they kiss and it's happily ever after. So what have we learned, my friends? We learned the importance of following your dream and dream big. Don't let the things of the past stop you. Always remember to keep moving forward and anything is possible if you dream big. And like what we always say, remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and come back to Happy Time Story Time for more videos. And as the fairy godmother would say, what? Bippity, boppity, boo!